Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
We need to address, well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
All right, so this is what was stated from the Department of Justice. A federal jury in Oklahoma City convicted a former K County, Oklahoma supervisor corrections officer of violating the civil rights of 3 pretrial detainees held at the K County Detention Center. Assistant Attorney General Christine Clarkey for the Justice Department Civil Rights Division and the United States Attorney Robert Tozier of the Western District of Oklahoma made the announcement. The jury convicted Matthew Ware, age 53, of willfully depriving 2 pretrial detainees of their rights to be free from a corrections officer deliberate indifference to a substantial risk of harm, of serious harm, and of willful depriving a 3rd pretrial detainee of the right to be free from a corrections officer's use of excessive force. Quote, the high-ranking correctional officer had the duty to ensure the civil rights of pretrial detainees in his custody were not violated. The defendant abused his power and authority by ordering subordinates corrections officers to violate the constitutional rights of several pretrial detainees. The Civil Rights Division will continue to hold corrections officers accountable when they violate the civil rights of detainees and inmates. Criminal conduct by any corrections employee violates the public trust and unfairly tarnishes the reputation of all corrections officials who honorably perform their important work each day. This verdict demonstrates our continuing commitment to protect the civil rights of all Oklahomians, including those in custody. I commend the outstanding work of the Assistant United States Attorney Julia Berry and Trial Attorney Laura Gilson, who vigorously prosecuted this case, and the FBI special agents and other law enforcement officials who conducted the investigation. The preservation of civil rights and the investigation of the color of law violations are the utmost priority for the FBI. If we don't hold our very own law enforcement officials accountable, those sworn to protect and serve, what hope will the American people have? Mr. Ware's actions were impermissible and undignified, particularly given his leadership role. His conviction is a prompt reminder that no one is above the law. The evidence and testimony also revealed that on January 31st of 2018, while Ware served as acting captain of the KCDC, he ordered lower-ranking correctional officers to restrain another pretrial detainee, Christopher Davis, in a stretched-out position with Davis' left wrist restrained to the far left side of the bench and his right wrist restrained to the far right side of the bench, in retaliation for Davis sending Ware a note that criticized how Ware ran the KCDC. Davis was left restrained in that position for 90 minutes, resulting in physical injury. Ware faced a maximum sentence of 10 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of upwards to $250,000 for each violation. Sentencing will take place approximately 90 days. The case was investigated by the Oklahoma City FBI Field Office, Assistant United States Attorney Julia Berry of the Western District of Oklahoma, and Trial Attorney Laura Gilson of the Civil Rights Division prosecuted the case.
Another one.
This is what was left out. A jury in Oklahoma found a former supervising corrections officer guilty of facilitating an opportunity for WS inmates to attack black inmates. On Friday, Matthew Ware, age 53, was convicted for violating the rights of D'Angelo Wilson and Marcus Miller in 2017 by transferring them to an area at the K County Detention Center where he knew WSs were detained. Testimony revealed that Ware ordered subordinate officers to unlock the cells so that the other inmates could assault Wilson and Miller. Both men were injured, and Wilson needed several stitches to treat a cut to his face. And remember, you'll have a lot of people out there that will tell you that America is not a racist country. And the fact that, everything doesn't have to be about race. Why are black people so consumed about race? Everything is not always about race. You guys are the most racist. You guys are the most focused on it. When clearly you have a Caucasian male who is in a higher order, right? And he's supposed to oversee the safety and the protection of all inmates, no matter the race, color, creed, religion, all of that good stuff, right? But he decided that because one of the black inmates decided to critique him, he decided that he wanted to show him what's what. He wanted to show him who was really in charge, who is able to hold his life in balance, who can really shift the scales. He wanted to show that black inmate who God was. And that's exactly what Ware did. He decided to use his power and authority to enact a certain type of treatment in order to get that inmate, and not only him, but use him as an example so that if other black inmates thought that they could come through and send a note critiquing his work, that they would think twice, because they would be watching and hearing about how one of their brothers were basically set up by not only the WS inmates that were directly there, right, from far right group. You will also have the corrections officers that will be working together with them in order to facilitate this message. And again, I'm still trying to figure out, where are those people that always talks about, everything isn't about race. It's amazing that when I look up this story and I look at the comments, you don't really see any of those people showing up to the scene. They don't have nothing to say. They don't have nothing to add to the conversation, because they know that they don't really have a leg to stand on. Their point is not going to stand, not even if they give a sun and shine a light as bright as it could be directly on their point. It's still not going to stand. It's just going to burn up in the heat and turn black. That's it. Burnt. So, like I said before, this is ridiculous. And I'm going to state this to a lot of black people. This is why you need to make sure to check on your family that is locked up behind bars. Because things like this happen in jails and prisons all the time. You just don't hear about it. And in some instances, it's not even as this example that you were able to hear. It might be a gang initiation. It might be the corrections officials, being part of some type of initiation so that they can get initiated into said gang, because they can't do it the normal way how most people would do it. So they have to, do it a whole nother way to show their allegiance. And this is many ways that a lot of these correctional officers do that. Like I said, I've covered videos and topics before where you have had cops that are part of gangs, internal gangs that are part of the police force. So if you got the police doing it, if you got gangs in the military, what does that then mean for the correctional officers who oversee the hundreds of thousands of bodies that are behind bars in a lot of these prisons and or privatized prisons and jails? What does that mean? That then means that you have the exact same problem there, which means that everybody is corrupt from the top down, because everybody's trying to figure out a way to get over on somebody else. Everybody's trying to figure out a way how to be top dog. Everybody's trying to figure out a way to make the utmost money. So again, for anybody black out there, make sure that you are, checking in on your people that are directly locked up. Like I said before, I don't agree with a lot of things that people do directly out here. I really don't. If, to an extent, if people are behind bars and they deserve to be behind bars, then they rightfully so are behind bars. But in other stories that I've covered, we have had black men that have been put directly in prison and had their lives, in a sense, taken, and they were innocent. And it didn't come out up until after that person was gone that the evidence showed that this person was innocent, and that the wrongdoing was directly on the police and everybody else who prosecuted the individual. And yet none of them will ever face any type of time. None of them will have any of their life and their energy stripped away or anything like that. So again, as I'm going to reiterate, if you have anybody that is in prison and jail right now, please check up on them, because there are lots of black men at this moment in time who have been blamed and pinned for crimes that they did not commit, or they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they were assumed to fit the description or what have you. Um, like I said, it's bad what happened to these two men, but in a sense, justice was served because the same person who was able to hold their lives in a balance is now in the same exact jumpsuit that they are in at this moment in time. It would be a more of a justice type of story if he was placed in the exact same area, because now he doesn't really have that same power. And now, because of what he did, he is going to be deemed as a leper, because if he decides that, oh, let me talk to some of my buddies that, the COs, I got some pull around here, that's gonna they already got eyes on him. So they can't afford to do what it is that they need him to do or want from him. So yeah, it would be very interesting to see how that would actually work out, and to see if those groups of individuals would still respect him without his power. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I listed in the comment description below.